There are a lot of different resources in Fallout 76, and because of how important crafting is, you will definitely need a good supply of everything. So in this video, I will be showing you the best places to get each resource in Fallout 76. But before we get into this video, if you're a fan of the Fallout games and the Fallout TV show, click the link in the pinned comment below to join my Fallout Discord server, where you can find other people to play Fallout 76 with, discuss the Fallout TV show, or just talk about anything related to Fallout. So let's start off with acid. Acid can come from scrapping junk, but the best way to get acid is by farming snallygasters and cave crickets, as they will drop a lot of waste acid that can be scrapped for acid, and there's two great places to do this. First up is the flooded train yard location right here on your map. This location will always have 3 to 6 snallygasters at it, which will all drop acid when you kill them. The second spot is Tanagra Town. When you get here, you'll need to climb the tree to reach the cave that will be halfway up it, and in this cave you'll find a lot of cave crickets that you can kill to get a lot of acid. Next we have adhesive. There will be 2 good ways to get adhesive. First, you can go to the Sparse Sundew Grove and Forward Station Delta locations. When you get here, look for these pitcher plants that you can interact with to get digested goo, which you can scrap for 4 adhesive each. These pitchers can be found all over the Cranberry Bog region, but you will commonly find them in these 2 locations. The next way to get adhesive is to go to a cooking station and craft vegetable starch, which will be pretty easy to make if you have a lot of food items, but you can make a ton of these and scrap them for 2 adhesive each. Next up, we have aluminum. The best place to get aluminum will be at the Pleasant Valley Ski Resort, right here on your map. Here you'll want to look for these black racks, and on them you'll find wooden skis and ski poles. Now if you want some extra wood, you could grab both the skis and the ski poles, but each ski pole can be scrapped for 2 aluminum, and there will be more than 45 ski poles scattered throughout this location. For antiseptic, I suggest going to the White Spring Resort, and while standing outside of the main entrance, look to the left and go into this employee-only building. And here you'll find a bunch of Abraxo and cleaning supplies that can be scrapped for antiseptic. But you can also go to the George Junkyard right here. And here you'll commonly find 5 ticks that you can kill, and then you can scrap the tick blood sacs that they drop for 2 antiseptic each. For asbestos, the first place that you should check is the Wavy Willards Water Park. When you get here, enter from the main entrance, then follow where I go on screen to get to this cigarette machine. And here you'll find a pile of cigarettes that you can scrap for asbestos. But you can also go to the flooded train yard location and kill the snallygasters there for more asbestos. The next resource will be ballistic fiber. Now this one will be tricky to get as it will only come from junk items, and sheepsquatch and mothman enemies, which aren't exactly the easiest to farm. But the best place to get ballistic fiber will be at Camp McClintock right here on your map. Here you'll find military ammo bags and military grade duct tape, which you can scrap for ballistic fiber. Next up is black titanium. The best places to get black titanium will be Monaga, Blackwater Mine, and Welch. At these locations you'll find a lot of mole miner enemies which you can kill, and on their bodies you'll find mole miner scrap. And then you can scrap that for black titanium. The next resource will be bone. The best place to get bone will be at the crater. In the crater core beside Mortimer, you'll find a pool table with a bunch of bones on it that you can scrap for bones. But you could also farm the super mutants at the West Tech location, as they will drop a lot of junk that can be scrapped for bones. The best place to get ceramic will be at the Lewis & Sons farming supply location. In the greenhouse that you'll find here, you'll find over 20 flower pots that can be scrapped for ceramic. Next up is circuitry. This will be another tricky resource to get, but the best place to get it will be at the White Spring Resort. When you get here, you'll need to look through every room in the resort and the shops at the mall, and look for telephones which can be scrapped for circuitry. The next resource on the list is cloth. The best way to get a lot of cloth will be to go to the Morgantown airport, then use the flare launcher here near the hangars to start the collision course event. For this event, you'll just need to take out a few waves of scorched enemies, but at the end of the event, a supply package will be dropped on you, and in it will be over 100 pre-war money that can be scrapped for cloth. You could also run the Casino Quarter expedition and loot a lot of pre-war money from the human enemies that will be found in that expedition. Next up, we have coal. To get coal, you'll want to go to the burning mine location right here on your map. And here on the walls of the mine, you'll find coal nodes that you can harvest to get coal. The next resource is concrete, and there are two good places to get concrete. First, you'll want to go to the Kanawha County Cemetery, and here in the shed at the back of the cemetery, you'll find 5 bags of cement, which you can scrap for 7 concrete each. And then you can go to the General Steakhouse, and in the garden behind the steakhouse, you'll find 8 garden gnomes, which can be scrapped for 3 concrete each. Next up is copper, and again, this will be a tricky resource to get. To get copper, you'll want to go to the Landview Lighthouse, and here inside of the lighthouse you'll find lighthouse souvenirs that can be scrapped for copper. But to get a much more consistent supply of copper, you'll want to claim the Billings Homestead Workshop, and then build an extractor on the copper node to gain copper every 10 minutes. Next we have cork and plastic. The best place to get cork and plastic will be to the left of the White Spring service entrance. Here you'll find over 40 golf balls on the patio that you can scrap for 1 cork and 1 plastic each. You can also find a ton of these golf balls all over the golf courses at the White Spring Resort. Next up we have crystal and gold. The best place to get crystal and gold will be in the cave halfway up the tree into Nangratown. In the cave you'll find these nodes that you can harvest for crystal and gold. But you can also claim the Hemlock Holes Maintenance Workshop to build extractors for a more reliable source of crystal and gold. The next resource will be fertilizer. The best place to get fertilizer will be right here on your map. When you get here, you'll find a farm, and scattered around it will be 13 bags of fertilizer, and inside of the farm you'll find 2 extra jars of raw fertilizer. Next up we have fiber optics, and there are 2 good places to get it. First will be the Ella Ames bunker, and here in this room you'll find a bunch of microscopes which you can scrap for fiber optics. And the next location is the AVR Medical Center, and again you'll find a bunch of microscopes scattered throughout this location. Next up on the list are fiberglass and screws. The best place to get fiberglass and screws will be right here on your map. When you get here, you'll always find between 1 and 3 Wendigos, and when you kill them, they will drop a bunch of fiberglass and screws. Next up we have gears, and in my opinion the best place to get gears is at the Dino Peaks mini golf location, because when you go here you'll always find 3 Deathclaws that will drop 5 to 8 gears each. The next resource is glass, and there are 2 great places to get it. First up is the Wayward. Here you'll find a lot of beer bottles and glasses that you can scrap for glass. The second place is the White Spring Golf Club. In the kitchen and dining areas here, you'll find even more glasses and bottles. The next resource is gunpowder. The best way to get gunpowder is to craft it, as it only costs acid and cloth to craft. But if you don't want to craft it, you can also get a lot of it from the super mutants at the West Tech location. Next up is lead. Now for lead, the best place to get it will be from the Lucky Hole mine. On the walls of this mine, you'll find a lot of lead nodes that you can harvest for lead. But you can also get a decent amount of lead from the Eastern Regional Penitentiary. When you get here, make your way to the yard that will be in the middle of the prison, and here you'll find weights that you can scrap for lead. The next resource is leather. And the best place to get leather will be in the Flatwoods area. Here you'll find Brahmin that can be killed for hide, and then you can scrap that hide for 4 leather each. The best place to get nuclear material will be at the Federal Disposal Field Workshop. Claim this workshop and then build extractors on the uranium deposit. And then you can turn that uranium into nuclear material at a chemistry bench. Next up is oil. For oil, you'll want to go to this location on your map. And here you'll find a bathtub full of soap, and you can scrap each soap for 1 oil. Next up on the list is rubber, and the best place to get rubber will be at the school in Grafton. In the gym area of the school, you'll find 2 carts full of balls, and each ball can be scrapped for 3 rubber. Next up on the list is silver, and this is a pretty tricky resource to get, but the spot that I like to use to get silver is the White Spring Golf Club. Here you'll find a lot of ghouls, and ghouls will have a high chance of carrying silver junk items. So just kill all of the ghouls here and then loot them, and then swap to a new world and do it again to get a lot of silver. But you can also buy silver junk for pretty cheap at this vendor in the White Spring Mall. The next resource is springs, and the best place to get springs is the Sugar Grove location. Here you'll find a lot of clipboards that can be scrapped for 1 spring each. Next up is Ultracite, and the best place to get Ultracite will be at the Glassed Cavern location. In this area you'll find over 60 Ultracite nodes that can be harvested for Ultracite. The next resource on the list is one that you'll need a lot of, and that's steel. But thankfully steel is pretty easy to get as steel junk is very common. But a good place to farm steel is the West Tech location as the super mutants drop a lot of junk, and you can scrap their weapons for even more steel. But sometimes you might need vault steel, which you can buy from the vendor at the Rusty Pick. And finally we have wood. And again, wood is very common, but the best place to get it will be in this shed behind the yellow house in Helvetia. And those are the best places to get each crafting resource in Fallout 76. But one thing that I wanted to add to this is that if you have extra caps and don't feel like going out and grinding materials, you can also go to the White Spring Mall and talk to the vendors that will be there. Most of them will be selling bulk junk resources, which is basically just a stack of that resource that you can scrap for multiple pieces of that resource. So if you don't feel like hunting things down and just want to buy what you need, you can do that at the White Spring Mall. But sometimes these vendors won't have what you need, so you'll need to hop to a new server and check again. But I hope this video helps you, and thank you for watching.